Thank you, John. Okay, let's see here. We all ready to get started?
Can I ask a quick question? Which
Of
iOS
course.
version should we not download?
In my opinion, stay away from 16 for now until they get an update out there.
I'm still on 15.6.1.
Stay right there. You're fine. You
Okay.
could, however, you could go to 15.7, which has some security updates, which are perfectly okay to incorporate. But don't go to 16 yet until they fix some stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Nancy, go into general and check to see if that's not an automatic update for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Barbara told me about it this morning. I had no idea mine was on, and it was, so I had to turn it off.
That's not
Oh,
a bad
yeah.
idea, but I'll just let you know that I have mine set for automatic updates, and it did. No, wait, I'm wrong about that. I was going to say it invited me to do 20 after I did 15.7, and I checked to see if there were updates again. It said my thing is up to date, but 16.0 is available.
That's right.
Oh,
Absolutely.
So
right.
it recognizes 16 as so humongous or such a consequential giant step that even if you're set to automatic, it may not do that one automatically. But it doesn't hurt to have it set to not do things automatically just in case, because I understand it's a bear to roll back if it's even in fact fully possible. So
Apple
Thank you.
doesn't even like you to do that either. I was online where I was talking to them this last weekend about 16, and I wasn't the only one with problems. There's many people that have been calling them.
the one thing I hate about iOS with the updates, their attitude is, it's going out on the 12th, it's going out on X date, no matter what shape it's in. In other words,
Right.
it's kind of like doing a rocket launch and saying, well, if there are leaks or if it failed a couple of tests or if, it's the launch is set for September 9th. That's when we're going. If it
Mhm.
blows up on the pad, well, we got some dead astronauts or, $1 billion worth of hardware.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
Who just joined us?
It's me.
Oh, Patty. Patty.
all right.
Okay, I have a question for everybody. Do you want Manny to do a lesson in November?
Yes.
Is that unanimous then?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
All right, we take December off. I just wanted to make sure.
I
All
love
right,
you guys.
right.
all right, you're on,
And I'm
Manny.
going to stick my head in every once in a while, but I have other things to attend to. So I'm going to put myself on mute, but it's recording.
Okay, thank you, John. Appreciate that. So, hello, everybody.
Hello there.
We were just talking about the first thing that I wanted to talk about. So that's kind of nice. Really good. So iOS 16 is released. I recommend that you do not upgrade until they get the next bug fix in, which would be 16.1 or whatever they want to call it. So we've had a nightmare. I can let Patty elaborate to you, but Patty and I upgraded our phones, and mine went well. And we have the exact same phone, by the way, but hers was disastrous, and she's got a lot of problems. Patty, do you want to talk about what you're experiencing to the folks on your phone?
Well, even right now, I could not do Zoom on. It kept finding just throwing me out. And obviously, since I cannot close any apps, I have to keep turning my phone off. That's the only way I could close apps right now, powering off. So it's so stupid. I'm so tired of it. I don't know.
Have they said when they're going to update the update and fix it?
They said they're working on it, but obviously, she didn't tell me there was a lot of complaints, but she said, we've heard from other people, so, and like I told her, I said, this is my main phone. I don't have I don't have a house phone. And I don't want to leave my apps open. I don't want to go to my bank and leave everything open. I have to keep, and that's what she suggested. She goes, just power off every so often. I'm like, it's annoying. Then you have to put your phone password, and then you have to put your Apple ID password every single time you do this. I'm like, oh, it's annoying. It's just so annoying,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like I told her, I said, I love the Apple products. And, you know, I said, I don't want to leave you guys, but this is very, very sad. You know, so supposedly they are working on it, and we'll see. That's it. But like I was telling Manny that day when it was happening to me, I'm like, go just reach out and tell everybody not to do it because it's going to be a nightmare.
Patty, have they
So-
told you anything about what they expect to be able to get done?
No. She says there's a lot of issues with it. And obviously this was, I call the accessibility line. So, you know, like I told her, I said, I don't really care about what the sighted people are struggling with. I said, I'm worried about us, the blind people, because we use it. I said, we turned voiceover off just to see if it would act a little different. And it didn't. Manny, you know, we were struggling with our vision to close things up, and that app did not come up. You know, the whatever, what is it called, Manny?
It's called the app switcher.
Yes, it would not come up no matter what. So it wasn't a voice, you know, over issue. It's just a problem with that. And I don't know why it hit my phone. Me and Manny have the exact phone, and you know, I think he's had a couple of different things with his, but nothing like mine. So I'm just lucky, I guess.
Patty, so does that mean that the sighted people are having as much trouble or no trouble at all with the new?
No, she said that that there's been reports of all kinds of stuff. Their phone also disconnects, like mine. Sometimes I'm on the phone on anything, like reading an email or something, and it turns off from that. It disconnects from that email or from Facebook, and it goes back home to the home screen by itself. It just throws me off. And she said that they've noticed, they reported that from the sighted people too. And a bunch of stuff. She says there's actually a lot of reports with people there. The bank website, the bank apps are not compatible. So we checked that on mine. Yeah. So I'm like, oh no, it just, but she said supposedly they were really working on it because it was, a good amount of complaints, she said. So, and like I told her, I said, well, yeah.
Well, the other problem they're having is two other problems. One is when you use dictation and search, it doesn't come in the text field. That's one problem they've got. And then they said that Siri would hang up the phone and answer the phone, and it's not doing that either.
And it doesn't do it.
That's
no, it
right.
doesn't do it. And also mine, and I think yours is doing it too, Ramani. When we used to hit the dictation button, it took the screen, the keyboard away, and it would put like a little microphone, little light or something, and it doesn't. So you don't know if you're dictating or not, as the whole keyboard is there. I don't know if you noticed that, Manny.
I did, and what they're doing is they're putting like a highlight around the microphone icon on the keyboard. I checked that out, but I like the other way, where the keyboard would just go away and you're dictating.
Yeah.
And it's
because then you at least know that you're dictating.
Yeah.
So there's, like I said, the major ones that I've noticed, obviously, they're the ones that I don't like, but supposedly there's a lot of other stuff going on. So maybe they'll get cooking on that.
Yeah, the dictation thing may not be a bug. It's probably actually a design that they put in there for whatever reason. And another thing they did too, when you call up Siri and then you hear that tone that tells you she's listening, they now have a very subdued tone instead of a sharp staccato kind of dink like we used to hear. It's like a real low mellow
Mhm.
tone. And that's not going to be good for our hearing impaired users. And I don't know what they were thinking when they did that, or what they should do is at least let us select the tone. So for our hearing impaired folks, they can hear when Siri is listening and when she stops. So, that's not a bug so much. It's more like, I don't like the way they implemented that personally. So, but the bugs
Yeah,
are
I
good.
forgot.
Go
I
ahead.
forgot,
it's
Betty.
Maggie.
She. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have hearing aids, and I'm getting to the point I can't even hear Siri when I have voiceover. It's
Yeah. No,
I
and,
have to.
and she's nice and loud on 15. On 15
Right.
or 14, whatever it was. This one, it's going to be annoying because it's just very soft. And I think I mentioned it to her, but I don't remember if she said there was a way to make it louder. I forgot because
Even if you use and push your volume up as high as it goes, it doesn't do a thing.
no, this is a very soft little ding, and you're like, well, if you're not paying attention, you miss it.
Yeah, I can't even hear that. It with my hearing aids, it's so low
No,
that I don't hear it at all now.
no, yeah. Well, I hope they fix that too, because that's a concern. So, yeah, I guess they got some work to do.
Maggie, what if you went into the hearing side of the settings, and would they have anything about that in there?
I've tried that,
Oh, okay.
and Siri just decided that she's going to whisper.
Oh, ew.
Well, Siri's volume is tied to what we call the media volume. So when she's speaking, you can take your iPhone and then you can tap on the volume up button, and that will change her volume. It also changes other media that play. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't interrupt you.
No, it doesn't work.
Well, it doesn't
I've tried
work.
with that.
Okay.
I've tried it under, going back into settings and trying to push it up that way. And I've tried it on the volume control. I still don't get enough that I can hear it.
We'll need to look at that because maybe your volume's at max and maybe it just doesn't go any further. I don't know. We have to take a look and make sure what the case may be. But that's the way I've done it in the past. I've lowered her volume that way and I've raised her volume that way. So we'd have to take a look at your phone, Maggie, and make sure we understand it.
Well, I used to be able to have no trouble with it. And now I've got it jacked way up as high as I can go. And Siri says, please, it's just nothing.
Yeah.
If they're going to do that, I wish they would do a vibrate when Siri's on.
I've looked for that, and I don't know if there's a haptic feedback kind of guy that goes with that. I might take a note of that and research that after this meeting and see if I can figure that out. And if it's not there, maybe suggest it to Apple as a feature update or something in the future, because that would be very handy, to be honest with you. So in talking about all this, and I won't go too much longer on this, the reason I called or I told Barbara to send it out to the folks is because we don't know what's happening, because the iOS 16 part itself is probably pretty good. It's got its little bugs, the things that we talked about. But the thing that Patty experienced was a deployment issue. The installer of iOS 16 did not put it on the phone properly. And that's why she's getting all these weirdo things. So it's kind of like what John was talking about earlier about the rocket. So the very top, the payload at the capsule is iOS 16, and the installer is the whole bottom of the rocket that shoots it into space. Okay, and I know it's kind of a crazy analogy, but bear with me on this. So the installer is the thing that delivers the payload to your phone. And it's not a straight copy. It's like a merging thing. If it doesn't do it right, if it's programmed wrong, it's every bit as disastrous as having bugs in the actual software, the payload itself. And that's what we've experienced here. And in my book, that's a very, very sloppy update that they did this time, and I hope they fix it soon, because there's a lot of people with problems with this. And again, why I said it is I didn't want anybody else to end up having to reset their phone like we did with Patty's. We had to reset it, lobotomize it, and then put her stuff back on, and it still didn't work properly. Luckily, we
It was funny because it did. Remember, that's what I was telling him. That it worked for like maybe 2 days, and then it stopped. So I'm like, well, why would it stop if we started anew, and it just stopped? I was like,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So anyway,
It's crazy.
Update to 16 at your own risk right now. I wouldn't do it, and just wait for the next update after 16.0, whatever the next one is going to be called, and it'll probably be okay. But even then, I would just, if you want, I can check it out and I'll let you guys know for sure. So I guess, is anybody any questions about that big topic we just talked about? iOS 16, or
Who is this, please?
what's that?
No, thank you.
Okay, so the other news is they released the new line of phones, the iPhone 14s. Ironically, they didn't update the engine, the chip inside of it. So you're really getting just a little bit newer version of an iPhone 13. So that depends. Upgrading to an iPhone 14 may or may not be a good thing. You might want to wait for 15 so you get the newer generation chip in there. That's my take on that. So good phone still, but I think it's not a full-blown iPhone 13 and 14. It's more like an iPhone 13 with maybe a little bit better stuff in it, but not a new chip. So
That's
13 and a
weird.
half. Isn't what the auto industry does?
what's that?
A 13 and a half.
Yeah,
like the
13 and a
audio
half. There you go.
wireless industry does.
What typically what they do with the iPhones and iPads and whatnot, when they release a new one, they usually stick a new chip in there, and it's an A number, A followed by a number. So my iPhone 10 has an A12 in it. The iPhone SE 2020, or the second generation, has an A13 chip in it, and so on and so forth. So it's worth it to wait for the chip update, because that means you're going to have a longer life with updates, because they base a lot of their updates when you get them on that number of chip. So you always want to shoot for the higher numbered chip, and so you can have more updates in the future. And typically, most phones will last about 7 years before they don't receive updates anymore. 6-7 years roughly.
Where do you look to see what chip number you have?
That was asked before in another class, and I thought it was on the about, but it's not. You have to take the serial number or the model number of your phone and then look for it online, and it'll tell you the chip it has in there. It's not on the phone itself, as far as I can tell. But that's odd to me, but okay, but that's the way you do it. And if anybody needs me to research that for them, just shoot me an email and I'll do it for you and let you know what chip you have in your phone. That's no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. So any questions on the iPhone 14 iOS or the 14 phone handsets themselves? Okay, we're going to continue on then. Oh,
can I say one thing? I don't know if anybody is called the accessibility line. Very, very nice people, very knowledgeable. I think I've called them twice since I've been with an iPhone, and the last time they took care of it right there and then. They take over your phone. You have to, give them access to your phone, and then they're literally guiding you. Where they know where you're tapping, where you're not, where you're swiping. They know everything that you're doing to your phone. So I was thinking, if people don't know what they're doing, and they tell you, they will, once you start doing passwords and stuff, they stop. They have to ask your permission again. So I was very impressed both times that I've called. This time they didn't do their job, but the last time, immediately they were able to fix my issue, which I don't remember what it was, but they did it. right
I-
online
yeah.
with them.
It's Maggie. I totally agree. They are wonderful. And when you
Mhm.
get flustered and do something stupid, they're very pleasant and very patient,
Yep.
helping you with it.
Yep.
You know what I'll do is I'll include their phone number in the notes for you guys. So I'll make sure it's in there so anybody can, you all have the phone number, you can call them whenever you need them because they are a good group.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and like I told her, I said, I don't know if this is a stupid question, and they're like, no, there is no stupid question. You know, you're the consumer. You tell us what you need, and we'll fix it. I'm like, okay. So very good.
So one more thing before we get off of this, and I'm sorry if it goes so long, but it's so important that you guys know this. So whenever you do an update, especially a major update, like from 15 to 16, 13 to 14, those big numbers, the integers of the updates, okay, not the dot whatevers, you should always do a manual backup of your phone first. So just in case something happens, you can always restore it. Because these updates are pretty complex, and obviously we see what happens when they don't work. And the thing that made me feel good is that we backed up Patty's right before we updated. And thank God we did, because, if something worse would have happened, she could have lost a bunch of information. But since we backed it up, we knew it was there. And it's there right now if we want to go downgrade. Like if they take too long to put out a 16.1 thing and Patty's getting anxious, well, we'll certainly downgrade back to 15.6 or whatever it is. And we have our data to do it. We're ready to go. So
Can you explain again how you back it up manually?
I'm sorry, yes, let me, it's worth going through it again. So what you do is you open up settings, and I am going to open that up. And I'm going to turn my phone up so you guys can hear it.
Netflix. Double tap Netflix.
Now I have 16.0 on this phone, but I did that because my other phone, I kept 15.6 on it, or 7 or whatever. So this is kind of the experimental guy, my main phone here. So I'm going to go into settings. So you would tell Siri to open settings. So I'm just going to tap on it.
Settings. Double tap to open.
Okay, now we're in settings.
Settings.
Then you tap on your name. It's the very first entry in settings at the very top. It's going to be your name.
Manuel Celis.
That's me.
Apple ID. iCloud. Edit.
And then after that, you go down, and when you can tap on that, you go down to the iCloud entry. And I'll just get right to it. I can kind of see it, so I won't bore you with all the swipes over there.
iCloud. 50 gigabytes. Button.
From there.
iCloud Plus.
And then after that, I think it's called iCloud Backup. Let me just find it here real quick. I'll try to do it quickly.
iCloud Drive. On. Button. iCloud Mail. Set up passwords and keep. Show all. Wallet. Device back. iCloud Backup.
There it
On.
is.
Button.
iCloud Backup. That needs to always be on, by the way. So you go into that. And then there's a switch to be sure it's on.
Back up this iPhone. On.
So
Double
that's
tap to toggle setting.
That's so it automatically does periodic backups. But the one that it's really important to do is below this. And that is called
Backup now.
Backup Now. Remember that. That's the thing you need to do before you do a major update. Because you're going to be doing a major update here in the future, probably this coming month or this month. So always do that. It'll be in the notes explicitly. Every step will be outlined. 1, do this, 2, do that. And you get to this, you back it up, and I'll tell you how to see if it's done or not. And when it's done, then you do your update, and then you can sleep no problem, because if anything happens, we can always take you right back, because all your data, except for the stuff Apple sends, the stuff you create, will be backed up to the cloud, and it'll be there available for you. So very important. And if anybody has any questions, or if they're going to update and you need my advice, call me, email me. I'll be more than happy to step you through it. So you're not alone out there. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, all right.
Manny,
Yes.
there are lots of videos about 16, how to fix bugs, what bugs are there on
Mhm.
YouTube. You know, I'm a YouTube
Yeah.
junkie, so I haven't gone through them
Well,
all, but I'm sure
If
you
you
have.
if you find mine, Nancy, let me know. Okay, I'm looking too.
If I find
Manny,
them,
It's Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Hi, would this be a good idea before you got a new phone to make sure that it's backed up?
Yes, okay, here's the deal. You can never back up too much. Never, never, never. You can back up, do it twice on Sunday, whenever you can. Because when you put your data in a second place, backed up, that means you're not at risk of losing it. The chances of iCloud going down are slim and none, okay? But your phone going down, that's a lot better chance of that happening. So, or it could get lost or stolen. And then what do you do? So you want to make sure your data is up there and safe. Okay. Any more questions about all that good stuff that we just talked about? If not, we're going to go on to Safari. Tab management. This is something that Barbara has helped me understand more. I sometimes I go teach Barbara and she teaches me. Isn't that crazy? But that's kind of part of this. So let me get over to Safari's tab management. Okay, hang on. I'm just trying to get my notes in front of me so I can speak with some kind of
Screen dim.
organization. All right.
Back up this iPhone.
All right, so I'm going to get out of this settings app now.
App switcher. Settings.
See, my app switcher works where Patty's does not.
Settings. Closing settings. App switcher.
Show off.
Settings.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go into Safari.
Safari. Double tap to open. Safari. Text field is editing. Tucson Society of the Blind logo. Link. Image. Banner. Landmark. A green logo and a black background.
Okay, so I'm on the Tucson side of the blind site. I was looking at it earlier, so it was the last site I was on. Now, I don't know if I got any tabs open. We're going to find out right now. And if not, I'll open up some more sites to populate. But your tab function is at the bottom. So there's a toolbar down there with a couple of buttons. And the buttons are previous, next page. There is sharing, bookmarks, and then of course tabs. The one on the very bottom right on the tab, on the toolbar. So if I put my finger on it, it's going to sound like this.
Toolbar. Tabs. Button.
Okay.
Double tap and hold for more tab options. Actions available.
We're not going to double tap and hold. We're just going to open up the tabs so you can see them. Okay. It's going to be like a tiled list of your tabs that are open. So I'm going to do that now.
Done. Button. Welcome. Tucson Society of the Blind. Tab. 1 of 1.
Well, that's the only tab I got
Down
open.
to
So
select.
it makes it simpler. If I had multiple tabs, there would be multiple listings. There'd be Tucson Society of the Blind and blah, 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 Google, whatever. So what Barbara showed me that I thought was really interesting is if you have multiple tabs open, you can press and hold the done button and you can close all of the tabs all at once, which is kind of nice. Instead of swiping each one out of the way to close it, you can close all of them. So let me find that done button. Let's see.
Welcome. New tab. Button. Tab groups. Done. Button.
There's a done button at the very bottom right. So if I press and hold that, this is what it does. Or doesn't do.
Well, you don't have much to open up. I mean, to close.
Dismiss context menu. Button. Dismiss context. Close tab. Button.
There.
So it would say close tabs, plural, if I had multiple tabs open. It only says close tab because I have just one. But I guarantee you, if you had multiple tabs, it would say close tabs. If I double tap on that,
Close alert. Are you sure you want to close all open tabs?
are you sure you want to close all open tabs? That's what it's asking me. And I'm going to say yes.
Close tab. Button.
And it says close tab because there's only one tab, but it means all tabs. We do that.
Close tab. Button. One image. Button. A black background with an illustration. Drag item.
Okay, hang on. So that's how that works. So if you ever get a lot of tabs open you want to clean them up, that's the way to do it. I know, Maggie, you like to keep things closed. So this is very important for you. If you want to keep those tabs closed on Safari. So this is a good note for you. And it's better to have less tabs than more because every tab takes away some of the processor's resources. Okay. So if you got 100 tabs open or 50, it's going to drag your finger. Yeah. Okay, if you have like 50 tabs open, it could be slowing your performance. So when you close tabs, you might get a performance boost with that. So any questions on that, on closing tabs, multiple tabs? Okay.
A couple of things. You can close an individual tab by just going up, straight up, and deleting it like you normally would an email.
That's right.
If you
That's
just
right.
want to do one. And I
So-
did not know about it, and I had 41 tabs open.
That's right. So
Because all my websites, every time I use Safari to go on a website, it stays open unless you close them.
So with VoiceOver on, and you're using VoiceOver, and you're in this tab dialog, you push the tab button at the very bottom right. You got multiple tabs open. They're going to be in a tiled kind of display. You're going to have boom, 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 like a tiled list. So you put your finger on one of those and you swipe up, you'll close it. That's the way that you can close individual tabs. So let's say you don't want to close them all. You just want to close a few. You can go through and hear what the tabs are and then close them individually. Or you can long press the done button and close all of the tabs. And that's a great way to manage tabs. They did a good job on that, actually. I thought that was really interesting how that works. So anyway, just that'll be in the notes. You can practice it and whatnot. So, okay, so let's see what else. Okay, so if there's no questions on that, the next topic I was going to talk about is text replacement. Did somebody say something? I'm sorry. Okay. So, and now we've talked about text replacement before, but we've never talked about text replacement for emojis. So right now, it's hard to enter emojis into a document if you're typing on the keyboard. You have to go to the emoji keyboard and then you got to visually look or listen to VoiceOver to find the correct emoji. So if you got a couple of emojis that you really like to use, if you'd like a heart or a rainbow or something, you can create a text replacement that when you type a certain set of characters like RBW, you can insert a rainbow emoji into wherever you want. So let's try that. I haven't tried it before, so hopefully it works. So let me make sure.
709, Pete, try again.
All right, so I'm gonna open it up.
Face ID.
I'm gonna go in.
Calendar.
We're gonna go into settings.
Settings. Double. Settings.
So instead of what I've been doing lately is I've taken a page from Barbara. She says we should just search for these settings, which I agree with. So I'm just gonna tap on the search bar here on top, and then I'm gonna dictate text replacement, and then we'll just go right to the setting. So let me do that.
Search field. Double tap.
I'm gonna double tap to edit.
Search field is editing.
I'm gonna do a 2-finger double tap to begin dictation, and then a 2-finger double tap to end dictation. Text replacement.
Inserted text replacement. Search results. Text replacement. General right arrow keyboard.
So it's under general keyboard. That's where text replacement exists.
Text replacement. General
And
back button.
let me find the,
One-handed keyboard off. Text replacement button.
at the very top, it's called text replacement. We'll go right in there.
Section index adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is hit the add button at the very top. So I'm gonna swipe over to it.
Add button. Add phrase. Text field is editing. Character mode. Insertion point at start. Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
So the phrase is gonna be the characters that you type that you want to be replaced with something. So RBW isn't a word, so that's a nice, or RB you could use, I guess, but RBW together, I'm gonna try that. So I can get a rainbow emoji whenever I want it. So I'm gonna type in RBW, so let me just do that. So I'm gonna go R,
R.
make sure I'm there first, hang on a second. Yeah, R, and then B,
B.
and then W.
W.
So that's my phrase, and then I'm gonna go down to,
Optional text field.
So-
Double tap to edit.
I'm gonna double tap to edit that.
B. Emoji button. Next keyboard. English, US.
And I'm gonna
Emojis,
select-
emojis frequently used. Rainbow.
Rainbow
Line.
emoji.
Use the rotor to access missed next keyboard. Emoji.
So now for you sighted people, your screen will look like this. The phrase will have RBW, and then the replacement, the thing that's getting inserted, what do they call that? The shortcut is going to be the rainbow. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit done
Save.
or save.
Many emojis.
Oh, they must have changed that. Oh boy, God. Well, scratch that.
Okay. Button. Shortcut. Text field is editing. Rainbow emoji.
All right,
Insert
so
dead end.
that's changed, or it's a bug. I'm sorry. So you cannot do emojis this way. I thought you could, but something happened. So that's a flop. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, but if you're gonna do,
You can use text replacement in all kinds of things, like your home address, so that you're not always typing your home address in.
yeah, it's still good and functional there. I just thought on these emojis that it would be easier, but they're working on a way to put emojis in. I just thought this might be another shortcut to it. They may be removing this functionality in favor of this new thing they're working on. So Barbara's right. Text replacement is great for something you're always typing. Could be your email address, could be whatever it is. And you use a little shortcut text like RBW, and then you could the word could be rainbow. And then wherever you type RBW, it would substitute rainbow, or it would substitute, you know, in 9862 East Creek Street or 8219 East Arbor Point, you know, whatever it says. And it makes things a little easier than doing it the other way. So sorry about that. I guess, I don't know if it's a bug or because it's 16 here. So I don't know if it's working 100%. So kind of embarrassing, but I'll check this out and get back, and I'll put it in the notes whether it's something I misinterpreted or if it's an actual bug in 16. So that's still up in the air. All right. Well, let me go to the next thing, get out of this one. Let's see. This one is going to be. Oh, this is one that Patty has shown me that I really like. And this is where you take a message, like a text message conversation, and you pin it so it's always on top. So Patty, are you there?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about how you use pinning of text messages? And then
Yes.
I'll navigate to it while you do that.
Okay. So what it does, you could pick instead of going through all your text, it picks you pin it, which you could select a picture of a person, or it's a little square that's above where your texts are. You could put two people in a text, like if you always text two people at the same time, but they're pinned in the very top, so they're always in the same location. I have like my kids and Manny and some of my family, I have them all pinned like that, so I don't have to, you know, I mean, I could just ask Siri too, but I could just touch the phone. I know where Manny's is in the top left, and I just tap it, and it's pinned there. I don't have to look through his messages. And like I said, you could design the little square with something, something related to them, or a picture or whatever. And I like that a lot because I don't have to go through all my text, to find a person if I'm doing it, by swiping, which I do sometimes. But of course, you could just do that with Siri. But I think it's pinning the people that you call or that you text all the time. It is easier. So I like that feature a lot.
Yeah, and so the way you do it is you open up messages. So I'll go through pinning somebody on mine. So let me get the volume up.
Chico Green, Barbara McPherson, Sunvet, Barbara McPherson.
Okay, there's Barbara. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin Barbara to the top of of my messages screen. So she's always there, no matter if I have 2 messages below her or conversations, or I have 100 conversations. Barbara will always be pinned at the top. So what I'm going to do is go to Barbara here.
Barbara McPherson.
And you swipe up with 1 finger or down to get to the pin option. So,
Pin.
oh, there it is right there. So we do that. And let's see if it's working in 16.
Barbara McPherson. Sunvan is running. Activate. Default drag item. Delete. Hide alerts. Mark as on the pin.
So this might be another thing that's not working in 16. So the way, I'm sorry, I'm working with buggy software. So what it does when it works, it puts her like a little icon up on top, and you can give Barbara McPherson just a normal, just I don't know, like a person kind of picture, or you can put Barbara's picture there, and you can do that with all of the guys you pin, and they'll be right at the top, ready to go. You can always get into their stuff. So this is another problem with iOS 16. You can't pin. At least on my phone, you can't. So again, this is another reason why you should wait. It's messing up my class, that's for sure. So is that true, Patty? You can assign the pictures to these icons, right? That's what.
Yes,
Yes.
they give you suggestions. They give you suggestions right when you do it. I think I tapped on something and it gives you pictures of it, or you could just do, a photo from your gallery. So it gives you the choice of that. But it's funny because your picture, you're a hot dog. When I call you, it's a hot dog. They have hot dogs and French fries and all kinds of stuff on there. It's funny.
I've been called worse.
Whatever you want, or you could just put, take a picture. It gives you the option. You could take an actual picture, or you could do the, your gallery.
So Pat,
I like it.
Patty, just for kind of a visual. So we have a list of conversations. They're like in a normal list. These pinned guys, though, they're kind of like square things on top, right? Is that what I remember?
Yes.
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 So they're like icons.
Yeah. So they're not with the rest of the list. They're above the top of the phone.
So that's kind of a nice way to keep things easy to find, especially if you're talking to somebody a lot and you're using the Messages app to do it. You're not just doing Siri, but you're actually in the app messing around. You can pin those people up and they'll always be easily found and not down in a list that you have to find. So any questions on that, or are we doing okay? All right, so my next thing that I want to talk about is a thing to do with security. So if, God forbid, somebody steals your iPhone and you have a passcode or a Face ID on it and stuff, you don't want them to be able to turn airplane mode on. And the reason that is because if they do that, you'll never be able to track it with Find My, like the Find My thing. You're looking for your iPhone. If you turn airplane mode on, your phone no longer communicates with the outside world. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you don't set this setting in your, and where I'm going to show you in settings, somebody who takes your phone can immediately turn on airplane mode and you'll never find your phone. So what it is that the control center is available on your lock screen, and you want to make sure that it's not available on your lock screen, because in the control center, you can tap on airplane mode and shut the phone's radios off so it doesn't transmit. Therefore, you can't find it. So let me show you how to do that. So if you have an iPhone SE or you have an iPhone 8 and back, it's going to be under Touch ID and passcode. All the other phones, you're going to look under Face ID and passcode. So I'm going to go to those settings right now. So let me show you.
7:21 p.m.
Okay. Get out of there.
Messages.
Get out of messages.
Found.
There.
Doc, messages. Settings.
Settings.
Notes. Double tap to settings. Double tap.
Hope the phone's not
Settings,
too loud for
text,
you. Okay, let's see here.
text replacement.
Go back
heading,
out of there.
Text replacement. Keyboards. Back button. Keyboard. General. Back button. General. Settings. Back settings. Cancel button.
Okay.
Settings.
So in the front door of settings, below your name somewhere, there's going to, on my phone, it's going to be Face ID because this is an iPhone XR. So let me go down there.
Search, dictate, and then with airplane, wipe, set, first, note, sounds, and focus, screen top, general, control, display, home script, accessible, wellpaper, Siri, and Face ID and passcode.
Face ID and passcode. Again, the other phones will be saying Touch ID and passcode. So you go in there.
Passcode, 0 of 6 values entered.
We'll do
Secure
that
text
now.
field 1.
Okay.
Settings, back
So
button.
now we're in there. And we want to go to
Face ID and passcode. Heading iPhone unlock. All iTunes and app. Wallet and app. Password autofill. All other apps. iPhone can recognize the setup and all. In addition to reset Face ID. Attention. Require attention. True depth. Attention aware. iPhone will check. Turn passcode. Change passcode. Unlock with Apple Watch. Manuel's Apple Watch. Use the secure required passcode. Voice dial. Music voice allow access. Today view and certain notifications. Control center off.
You want to make sure
Toggle setting.
under this setting that control center is off. This way, if your phone gets lost or stolen, somebody can't turn the radios off. And you can find it with Find My or locate it with the other stuff and know where your phone is. Because that's the first thing any kind of thief does is they'll
Thank
turn
you.
the radios off.
I have a friend who
Yeah.
just had a robbery today, and her iPhone and her iPad were stolen. That's
Yes.
Eileen, just so you know.
Yeah. So the thing is, even on iPads, same deal. Okay, there's really almost no difference between an iPad and an iPhone relative to settings. So there will be a Touch ID or Face ID thing on your iPad, just like your iPhone. You got to set them on both devices. Just so you know. But yes, that is so important. That way, if it does get stolen, at least you can find it, or you can disable it, or you can erase it if you think it's already gone over to China somewhere. So very important. And by the way, if you don't use a passcode on your phone or Face ID or Touch ID, I recommend maybe exploring that because that does secure your phone more. And I know it's easier not to use it, but you're really trading off security and you may lose your phone if you leave it somewhere and somebody takes it. Because people aren't as honest as they used to be, and they see a phone, they'll swipe it. So you don't want to be a victim. You want to be prepared. And Apple gives you the tools to be prepared. So highly recommend that. Control center off. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what's next. Unless anybody has questions. We are security. Oh, I found this cool little thing, and it's been there all for a long time, and I just never use it because I'm not as smart as I used to be. So if you have a screen in front of you and you want to share it with somebody, I've shown you how to do it by holding the power and the volume button and pressing them together, and that takes a screenshot. Then you navigate to screenshots, and then you go into it and share it. Well, there's a much easier way to do it. You just tell Siri to share your screen, and she will share it with anybody. So if I do that now, let's say if I would say, Siri, share my screen, and then she'll go, who do you want to share it with? And I'll say Barbara McPherson or Patty, and it'll send the screen to them. It'll actually send your screenshot, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to tap anywhere. You don't have to navigate anywhere. I thought that would be a nice thing to show you guys in case you want to share your screen with somebody. So you want me to try it? See if I think it's just a 2 commands here. So I'll say, hey Siri, share my screen.
To who?
Chica Green.
Send this photo to Chica.
Yes.
7:26 p.m. It's sent.
And that's it. That's all you got to do. And your screen will get sent.
Yeah.
I think
my
it does a
screen.
And
text.
there's like 4 or 5 steps.
Yeah.
You eliminate
So
it.
that saves a lot of time. And you got to remember
Share
on the
my screen.
iPhone or any computer, there are multiple ways to do the same thing. I try to teach as many ways as possible so you have a choice in case something happens, you know. But I always like to do the easiest way first, like having Siri do it for me. That's the easiest. I don't have to use my vision. I don't have to use my fingers. Just got to use my ears. So, any questions on sharing your screen with Siri? If
I
not,
tried to
what
do it and it wouldn't let me do it. Maybe because I
did it
used,
say?
it didn't say anything. I think maybe because I was on the call with you.
Oh,
don't know.
it could be that, maybe. I mean, my phone is not engaged in the call. I'm using a computer for
I
Zoom.
follow you. I get it.
So maybe when we're off, give it a shot later, you know.
Sure.
You know, I think that you're right because you're using the microphone. So Siri can't get to the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem I think that's happening
He
here.
needs two microphones.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So I'm sure it'll work later. You know, I think it'll work fine later. So just give that a
Cool.
shot.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay, the next thing, I want to talk about some iOS 16 features now that I think are worth talking about, even if they don't all work. And these are our features that are for us, that are germane to our disabilities and our group, or would serve us better than the current state. So one of the first iOS 16 is this thing called call hang up. Okay, and when it works, it's going to do just the opposite of what I just told Nancy. It's going to allow Siri to listen while you're using the microphone on a phone call, and then it will hang the call up for you. Now, I've tried it with 16, but that's a bug. It's not working. But let me call out to her and tell her to hang up a call, and you can hear how it responds, okay? Because it's going to say that there's no call out there or whatever. So, hey, Siri, hang up.
There's nobody calling right now.
So when it works, the other part of this will work. When you're actually in the call, you can just tell it to hang up. So
Settings.
again, and that's a known bug right now. And you need an iPhone 10 or greater because it's got to have the A12 chip. I don't want to go too far down that road. So this will not work on an iPhone 8. It'll have to be an iPhone 10 or an SE 2020 or greater. One of that generation of phones. iPhone 11, 12, whatever. Those are fine. So let's see what the next one is here. Oh, this is something that you guys might really find useful. Okay, in iOS 16, what they've done is they have under accessibility, and they got a new entry called Siri. You can adjust the time that Siri waits. Right now when you give it a command or you're dictating and you stop, she immediately stops. But you can lengthen the time she waits now. And that's a nice thing in iOS 16. I haven't tried it yet. I'm afraid to try it because everything's real buggy right now. But let me show you where it's at. And when you get your iOS 16 update, you'll get my notes or call me and I will tell you exactly how to update this setting. Most people are going to want to set it for a little longer time. So when you're doing something, it doesn't immediately cut you off right away. It gives you a little extra time to say something. So let me go into that. So hang on.
Notification center on.
Yeah,
Settings. Backup. Settings.
So
Settings. Heading. Home screen.
so we're going to go to accessibility because that's where this is located now.
Display. Control center. Display and brightness. Button. Accessibility. Button. Vision. Heading. Motion. Spoken audio to physical and touch. But face out. Switch control. Voice control. Side button. Control. Apple TV with keyboards. Hearing. Hearing device. Sound rec. RDT. Audio /bit. Subtitle. Live captions. General. Guided access. Siri. Button.
So Siri is a new entry under accessibility in iOS 16. So we're going to go in there.
Yeah.
Type to Siri. Off. Double.
Okay, so let's go down to the place that we're talking about.
Siri pause time, heading.
Siri pause time. Now, right now it's default, and the options you have is the current time, which is very fast. As soon as you stop talking, she almost cuts you off right after that. But you can set it to a longer time or longest time. And then,
Set how long Siri waits for you to finish speaking.
so right now you have three options. You got default,
Selected, default,
then you have
longer,
longer, and then you have
longest.
longest. It doesn't say how much time that is, but each iteration of this gives you extra time, extra silence time before she stops listening. And that might help you if you're having trouble with that now, like you're trying to get something out and she cuts you off right away as soon as you have a space in what you say. That's going to be a nice handy thing to set. And I would set it anywhere. I think it's going to be fine. So remember, that's iOS 16, and that's under accessibility, Siri, and then it's called a pause time, I believe. Let me see.
Siri pause time,
Siri,
heading.
Siri pause time. That's what they call this. So very, very good thing that they did there. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, okay. So that's it for the 16, guys. Well, there is another thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if I have it later on in my thing here. Let me just make sure. Hold on just a second. I want to make sure I get them all together. Sometimes I'm not organized. Okay. So the other thing they've done in iOS 16, that's the big hit, the big visual hit, is they've done a lot of work on these lock screens. And the lock screen on your phone,
7:30, try
that's the
again.
screen that has the time on it. So what they've done is they've opened it up. You can take the font of the clock and make it real nice and big. You can change the colors and this and that. You can add widgets, like right now. Let me go to that screen.
7:34 p.m.
I have the time there, and it's real big for those of you who can see. And I'm gonna swipe over to the widget that I put on there. Oops, wait a minute.
7:30, try again. 80 degrees, flood watch, high of 96 degrees, low of 74 degrees, actions available.
So the reason you should have widgets on your lock screen is like, why do you want to open up your phone just to figure out the weather? Or you could ask Siri, but if you wanted to do it kind of a semi-visual way and you wanted just to touch the screen, you could, on the lock screen, have the widget, and that could be anything. It could be weather, it could be stocks, it could be anything that's changing, and you want to be aware of those changes whenever you feel like listening to that or getting to that. So the lock screen has been really well done. That's a good thing they've done on 16, by the way, this customization thing. And you can do many lock screens. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. What was that? Okay. So there's many lock screens that you can make. I just have a simple one. I put a bluish background on it, and I got my font for my clock. I use the real heavy font, high contrast. So now I can see the clock, from space. It's pretty good. Instead of a real thin, light font that's hard to see, like if you're using your site to do this. So, of course, you can just touch it with Voice Over Run and tell you the time, but for the visual aesthetic, they've really done a lot of good things. So I didn't want to focus too much on the visuals that 16 has. There's a lot of visuals that they've done stuff with. They've even got one where, let's say if you have a portrait of yourself in your photo album, you can press and hold on your portrait and it removes the background. And then you can take that removed background image and you can paste it anywhere, and it looks like you've been cut out of the picture really, really well. And you can put it on a different background, like in front of a beach scene, or you can put a green background.
Nice.
It's
Yeah,
really
I'm
cool.
at school.
Yeah. Now I don't show that for this
I ain't
class.
cut.
I've been looking for one that
Those
gives me
days.
air. So yeah. So there are a lot of
Well,
cool things that are good with 16 though. I hate to put it down so much, but there are good things too.
And I was gonna tell you, Manny, the one that I noticed is for the talking books. They it looks like it's organized a little. They did it like a list. Like,
Mhm.
you know how it used to be visual. It used to be I don't know. It used to be the whole screen or something, and
Yeah.
now it's like a short little list on one side, and then on the right side, and you could, you could do your, it says right there, the, God, I can't think of Braille or, the categories, whatever it is.
Right, right.
And they're on the list on the right side.
That's
Sort of
great.
like TV
So it
does.
looks cleaner.
Mhm.
Yeah, better
No,
organized.
that's very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I like when they make changes that make sense and make it easier for everybody, and especially us, because I hate to swipe all
Yeah.
over the screen finding something or drag my finger around and hopefully run into it. Should be logical. Anyway, don't get me on that soapbox. I'll talk forever.
Mhm.
And speaking of that, let me see, where are we? Oh, okay. So that was the thing with some of the other features of iOS 16. It is a good update once they get the bugs out of the update and the way it's delivered to your phone. They get all that worked out, which I'm sure they're going to make sure it's okay for the next one, because this is real bad for them right now. I don't know what's going on over at Apple. I think some heads are going to roll. That's what I think, but I don't know. Anyway, the next thing on my list was, because I did this with Patty's phone, I thought I'd share it with you guys. So if you ever need to factory reset your phone, which means what it'll do is it'll clean it up and then it'll restore it to factory. And then you'll have to put your data back on, restore it, or use it as a new phone. This is what you do when you're going to sell your phone. You do a factory reset. And what it does, it takes it
Mandy?
off. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm real sorry. I thought
Okay.
I could slide in for a second.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I have an ear cocked because I've got
Yeah.
the Met game going on. They're going great. That's another discussion. How do you get something onto this lock screen? I'm not bothered with it because I thought it was all visual and my screen's in dark mode. But for example, especially during this pennant race, I'd love to have MLB, and I don't see it under edit. So I guess, do I have to go to library? What my question is, how do you get a widget from all your regular widgets and apps that you got on all your various screens? How do you bring it onto?
You have to, I believe, I've only done this once. So John, if I don't get it right, I promise you, I will put this in the notes.
Okay, I think it'll be good for
But-
people to know,
Yeah,
So,
but I believe the way you do it is you long press on the screen and you get these options. And there are a few options. There's the clock, and a clock, the clock is really a widget. It's just a clock widget, by the way. It's just
Yeah,
always
right.
been there. Now, if you want to put MLB scores or whatever, there's going to be a widget out there you can add, and I will check into that to be sure I give you the correct instructions.
because what I did is it's on my second screen. Okay, I got MLB and there's
Right.
edit and activate. So I hit edit, and it gave me the drag, delete, and it gave me the options. The only other thing I can think of is going to library. It might give you an expanded set of options. But if you're not
Maybe,
covering that
yeah.
in this, and I could always go out to Apple Vis or any of the chat
Right.
groups, but
I
it
don't-
wasn't obvious how to do this.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it if it's on one of the home screens, at least not yet. But I do know for sure that if you're on the lock screen, you can do it from there.
But from the lock screen, you're not going to see MLB. I don't have it there. I'm
Yeah, you
trying
have
to
to
get it.
add it in. That's the problem. You have to
You're
add
moving
in.
it. Yeah.
And I don't know how that works exactly. I hate to say it all publicly and then it's all wrong.
No,
But
I get
will
it. No,
research.
Okay. I'll let you carry on. I just thought that
No, thank you, John. I
elected
appreciate
not to
that.
go there. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thanks.
that. So like what John said, and to finish that up, there are many widgets available. I'm not versed on the visuals of this because I'm visually impaired, obviously. But I will answer John's question, but I was able to put in a weather widget on that screen, and it does work great. I can just pick my phone up and it'll come on, and I put my finger on the widget, and then it just tells me what the weather is, or whatever it is. And then that saves me a lot of time in opening the phone or even asking Siri. It might be faster than Siri. You just touch it and you're done. You don't have to invoke Siri and then say it, wait for her response, all this jazz. So there is value to having widgets, even for us visually impaired folks, if we know how to use VoiceOver really well. So any questions about that? Okay, so factory reset, this is what you do when we have a problem like Patty's, when her phone becomes unusable on an update, or you are going to take the phone and you're going to resell it. Because what a factory reset does, it takes it off of your iCloud account, takes it off your account. Because until you do that, nobody else can register the phone. It has to be a free agent, so to speak, before anybody else can use it. So that's what a factory reset does. And what it does, it takes everything off. It puts the base operating system on there, and it gets it ready so you can either restore your data again in hopes that your phone will work better or clean it up. Or if you're going to sell it, whether you're doing an eBay thing or you're selling it to somebody, they need a phone that's not affiliated with you or anybody else. It's got to be free. And when you do that, you can then sell your phone and do that. So anyway, that's what factory reset does. And you know, I'll show you how to do it. It's not something that you're going to be doing very often, but let me show you where it's at. So let me go to my phone.
7:42 p.m. Settings. Excessive longer.
Let me go back.
Accessibility.
So it's going to be under general. So we'll go to general.
Guided access.
No,
Off
that's not it.
button. Settings. Back settings. Wallpaper button. Home. Controls. General button.
You go to general.
About button.
It's probably very close to the bottom. I'm just going to scroll up with 3 fingers. 3 fingers, scroll up to get down to the bottom.
Rows 8 to 16 of 17. Rows 9 to 17 of 17. Shut down button. Transfer or reset iPhone button.
That's the option, transfer or reset iPhone. Now, when you do that, you got to answer a bunch of questions. You got to put in your Face ID, Touch ID, or passcode, whatever, to be sure you're the person that's resetting your phone and not your friend resetting your phone, planning to take your phone. So anyway, I won't go deep into this, but you just go in there and then you answer the questions, and you're going to do, you erase everything, and then it will turn it right back into a factory phone that you do regularly. So that's how that works. Sorry.
That was very scary when Manny had to do it for mine. I thought it was going to lose everything.
Oh, she was nervous. You should have seen her. I should have video recorded her and posted it. It was so, it wasn't funny, I don't think, but it was interesting. So.
But I'm glad, you know, that you know how to do it, but it was very scary.
He's just picking on you, Patty. Don't take that.
I know. That's what I said.
So, and that leads into something that we talked about earlier. So before we did that with Patty's phone to try to salvage what we could, operating system wise, iOS wise, we backed up her phone, and I made sure that backup was done. And Patty has a lot of books. You think you guys have a lot of books? Patty has got tons of books, and those take forever to back all that stuff up. Anyway, we got it done, and then we did the factory reset, and it works a little bit better. Well, maybe it works the same. I don't know. Only Patty can answer that, but it worked better for a minute, and then it went back to its buggy state. So I don't know what happened there.
But no, it did. It was like, that's what I was telling her. It was good for, like, I think I went home for a day and a half, and then I couldn't close it again, and then I did I turned power off, and that's when it asked me for the ID and all that stuff again, and then it never came back. It was gone by then.
Yeah.
So don't know.
That's something that, you know, I want to talk to you guys about that. I don't think that you should do it if you're doing it for the first time by yourself. Get somebody like me, get an expert in your family, somebody to make sure they back it up and they help you, or I help you, because that's very serious surgery on your phone. When you're doing that, you're doing major surgery, and you want to be
You're
sure.
in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, pretty much. This is not just using an app. This is actually fundamental things we're doing to the phone. So, you know, and I always want you guys to be safe. So give me a call. Let me know if you need my help. I'll be happy to set aside time, and we can reset your phone. We can back your phone up beforehand. You know, I'll guide you all the way through it, and you won't have any problems. Trust me. So hopefully you'll never have to do that. That's kind of I don't know. That's a shotgun way to fix your phone kind of thing. So.
Well, we're getting a lot of thunder, so we may have a
Yeah, I
storm.
just saw you. There was a lot of thunder over here.
It's currently cloudy and 84 degrees. Expect
Oh.
thunderstorms starting tonight. 2 of 4 bars.
Oh,
Signals.
there you go.
Status bar item.
Okay, so the
Swipe up
next
with 3
thing,
fingers to reveal notifications. Swipe up with 3 fingers to reveal the control center.
I wanted to go over very quickly was in VoiceOver. We've never talked about this, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm just, getting old. But there's a thing called verbosity in VoiceOver.
Mhm.
And just like the name implies, it just sets how verbose VoiceOver is. Does it speak punctuation? Does it speak all punctuation, some punctuation? Does it do these vocal inflections? So it's kind of a question like, how are you doing? It does that roll up on the ing doing. So it sounds like a question, or So anyway, let me go to verbosity. We'll go over the settings real quick because it's too much to do in one night. I'll just go over the highlights and then you guys can explore on your own. I'll put more in the notes because I don't want to waste too much time on verbosity because you typically never have to set these things. And the reason I bring it up is because if you get tired of VoiceOver talking way too much, you can scale back the verbosity of VoiceOver. That way, and you can do it in a way to where, okay, I don't need to hear this stuff anymore. And that lessens the amount of speech you get out of VoiceOver, but it still retains the stuff you need. So, and typically when it's set at the factory, those are good settings because you don't get everything. It's not fully verbose, but it's not lacking either. It's kind of right in the middle. And it speaks most punctuation. They've on the symbols on the keyboard, like the @ symbol and the exclamation mark and stuff, you can change the words that it says. So if you wanted to say for the @ symbol, you would just say at. You would spell it out phonetically at, or use a different word, almost at, or whatever you want to use for the @ symbol. That's what verbosity does. So let me go in there.
7:49 p.m. Settings. VPN and device management.
Okay, let me get over there.
Settings. Backup settings.
Let's see here. Accessibility.
Accessibility. Button. Vision. Heading.
VoiceOver.
VoiceOver on. VoiceOver on. Double
And
tap.
it's going to be in the
toggle
VoiceOver settings down a little bit. It should be a thing called verbosity all by itself. So let me get down further.
Speech. Braille. Button. VoiceOver recognition. Button. Verbosity. Button.
So it's called verbosity. And believe me, this is a big section and we're not going to go over the whole thing. We'll be here like another 40 minutes talking about verbosity.
Verbosity. Button. Punctuation. Button.
So let's talk about punctuation. Let's just go over that. So here's what the iPhone tells you what this setting means. Okay, just in case, probably speaks it better than I do here.
Punctuation.
Oops, hang on, go back.
Customize how punctuation is output.
Okay, so customize how punctuation is output.
Punctuation, but active punctuation group, some, system groups, heading, active punctuation group.
So right now it's set to some. It's saying a lot, but just trust me, we're talking about punctuation and it does some. The settings for this are, let me go into that.
Active punctuation group, system groups, heading, all.
All makes it more verbose, so it'll say a lot of things. It might say commas and periods and stuff like that. Where some says, okay, you don't need to say the commas or the periods. You just stop and pause instead, or whatever it is. So that's what I mean by verbosity. You want a more natural speech would go to the some or none. And that way it would sound a lot more like natural speech instead of speech for us, for visually impaired people, where you have to hear if there's a comma there, or if there's a period or semicolon or whatever it is. Okay, so that's the one setting. So let's go back.
Punctuation, punctuate. Active punctuation group, some, button. Verbosity, punctuation, heading, active punctuation group.
So they call it a group. It's some punctuation is what we're talking about. So let me go down to something that's more more interesting than the rest of this. You can create your own groups. Nobody cares. Let me keep going down below that.
Add punctuation group, button, import, import, add punctuation group, button.
So I'm going to go in here. I think it's in here.
Select alert, initial punctuation group. All button,
No, let me cancel.
cancel button.
Well,
Add
let me stop there. There is a feature in here, but I'm not fully aware of where it's at. It's in here somewhere, buried deep. Like I said, you can take a symbol and you can, because a symbol has really no character with it. You have to give it a word, like the number sign. You would say pound, or you would say number, whichever one you want. You can change it around to however you like. That's a better example. So you get a pound sign, you can say number, or you can say pound, and you just type in the thing you want it to say, and it will say that when it encounters the pound sign. Almost like text replacement kind of, but in a voiceover fashion. So that's kind of what verbosity is. Typically you leave these alone unless you're getting tired of too much talk from the phone. So I thought I'd just show you that one for fun. All right, let's go here. Let's see what else we got. Okay, Bard was a review thing. Barbara wanted me to review Bard with you guys. So I'm going to open up Bard, and then we can just go through it real quick. Anybody has any questions about Bard, let me know, and we can figure it out. Okay, so Bard is right here.
Bard Mobile, double tap to open.
Assuming it's going to open.
Bard Mobile 2001, A Space Odyssey, heading.
Okay.
Tab bar, bookshelf.
You can see the kind of books that I'm reading: 2001 Space Odyssey, Isaac Asimov. So all those science fiction kind of things.
That's because you're so young that you have to catch up with us.
Thank
right?
you. I wish I was young. So
I don't see so good, so consider the source.
So the Bard app, that's the place, obviously you guys know about it, where you can go to the library and download audiobooks. And it's divided into tabs. So the first tab is this one.
Selected, bookshelf, tab.
Your bookshelf. This is where all of your material that you downloaded exists. And you can go to your bookshelf, and just like if you were to pull a book off, you can tap on the book, and then the player will come up, and then you can play the book or the magazine or whatever it is. And for Lupita, I don't know how you do Braille. I guess you have to have a Braille display, and then you tap on it, and then it'll put it out in Braille if you're using a Braille display. I haven't done that homework on that, to be honest. So, and then on this bookshelf screen, it's got a few little things here. So let's explore it.
Audio magazines, 0 items.
You got audio magazines,
Braille books, 0 items.
Braille books,
Braille magazines,
Braille
0
magazines.
items. Help, 1 item.
Oh,
Audio books, 7 items.
yeah, I skipped over audiobooks. So there's 7, I mean, no, there's like 5 different kinds of material on your bookshelf. The analogy is, it's like paper books, magazines, and of course the Braille is different. All right, so the next tab.
Tab bar, get books, tab.
This is where you
Get
kind of fetch or get books. And in this tab, you have your wish list.
Wish list, double tap.
These are the guys that you've tagged that you want, but you haven't downloaded them yet. So when you're perusing the library online and you see a book by whoever, James Patterson, and you say, oh, I want that book, you can say add to wish list. And what it does, it builds a wish list. And then when you go into this wish list option, all the books you tagged are going to be there ready to download. And you'll double tap to download the ones you want. And the ones you don't download will remain on your wish list. The ones that get downloaded get transferred from your wish list back to that first piece, the bookshelf. So, let me see here.
Recently added to Bard. Double tap for recently
Now,
get
when
books.
you're
Heading.
when you're getting books, you can go through categories, and these are the categories.
Recently added to Bard. Double tap for recently added to Bard.
Self-explanatory.
Most popular books.
So-
Double tap for most popular books.
Most popular books.
Browse magazines. Double tap for browse.
So browse magazines. Let's say let's say you like a magazine called Consumer Reports, and I believe that's in the magazine list. You can go in there and you can browse Consumer Reports issues, and then you can put those on your, or actually those get transferred right away. Actually, when you do those, they get put on your bookshelf right away. So you can get those magazines on your bookshelf along with your books. And then
Previous downloads. Double tap for previous downloads.
now previous downloads is a nice little feature. Let's say you want to download a book again. Let's say you downloaded something, The Scarlet Letter, and you took it off your bookshelf. And said, I want to read that again. I just didn't get enough the first time around. Or, and then you do that, and then it'll actually get the book for you. So that's kind of what's nice. And you can keep track of what you've read. And then the last one,
Bard website.
this is the one we use the most, because what it does is it opens up the website in the app, not in Safari, but inside the app. It's got its own little web browser within the app. You'll go to search the collection, you'll dictate or type in the subject, the author's name, or whatever it is you're looking for. It'll then do a search. It'll check the titles, the text, and the bibliographies, and all that. And it'll try to assemble a big list of books and the formats that you can get, for you. And it's usually divided by audiobooks, magazines. It'll say something about books with the search with the name and the title, or the name and the author, or whatever. So. And then it gives you a brief synopsis on each entry, and then you can add to wish list at the bottom of the entry. So that's how that works. And then the next one.
Tab bar. Settings tab.
Settings. That's the way, this controls the program's behavior. And these are settings like, do you want Bard to play when you switch away from it? Do you want it to play in the background? So if you hit the home key while you're in Bard, does the book continue playing or does it stop? But these are those kind of settings where you can tell it how you want it to behave. And there are a lot of settings here. Let me go through a few of them.
Audio settings button.
So the audio settings, like I just mentioned, that's typically that.
Braille and display settings button.
That, I believe, has to do with how it interfaces with your Braille display. Okay, how it renders on the Braille display.
User account settings button.
And then, of course, your user account's probably your name and whatnot. Probably not a lot of information there. So that's basically that for the settings. And then finally, the last one, and last but not least.
Done in a half hour.
Now reading.
I said I turned off the TV.
Now reading tab.
So now reading has a player, and it's the digital version of the physical player that you used to use, or you have. And remember, you have the player, it's got some buttons on there, and then you got a place to stick the cartridge. Well, this is an analogous of that, except it's just buttons on a screen on your iPhone instead of physical buttons that you press. And it's got play, rewind, go forward. You can navigate by chapter or whatever the navigation structure is on the book, the bookmarking there. You can put in a timer, a sleep timer, and then you can adjust the pitch and the speed of the reader. So, and these are real readers. These aren't computer text-to-speech readers that sound like a robot. It's a natural voice, and you can speed that natural voice up or slow it down. And I think that's about it for that. So yeah. So any questions on Bard, the review of Bard? Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was, so when you guys go out with your phones out and away from your home, there's two things that you should, hold on. There's two things that you should bring with you, especially if you're going to be gone for a while. And the two things that I recommend is a portable battery for your iPhone. It doesn't need to be a big battery. You could get a battery about the size of those old Bic lighters, and that's fine. And it has a cable in it. Hook it to your iPhone to give it extra juice when it gets low, just to keep you for your iPhone in case your battery drains for some reason. And then the other thing is you may want to get some kind of Bluetooth earpiece. So when you're in a real loud area, you can isolate sound into your ear. And most Bluetooth earpieces will work with your hearing aids because they don't go into your ear canal. They rest outside of your ear canal. So it would just be pumping sound from that speaker right directly into your hearing aid, I hope. So those are two things that I would recommend taking with you if you're not just going for 5 minutes somewhere. If you're going to be out for half a day or something, bring a portable battery and bring a Bluetooth or some kind of something to isolate sound. It could be earphones or it could be a Bluetooth thing, whatever it is. And that way you can adapt to any situation around you. And especially if you're using voiceover and you can't hear it in the crowd, you might want to isolate the voiceover into an ear for both ears and shut out the sunvan noise or people talking around you or whatever it is. Because that's important.
That's what I was going to
if you
say.
want
In case you're stuck in sunban for hours.
Yeah, because that happens, So
And I watch YouTube.
and
Yeah.
so these portable batteries, they're very cheap. You can get them for like $10 and they include a cable. Now, the ones I like are these big flat jobs. They're about the size of the phone and about as thick as the phone. And they have about 2 full charges in there for your iPhone. Maggie has one, Patty's got one, I've got one, please some other people got
I
one.
do too.
Yeah, and then they are just so good because they have plenty of power. You're not going to run out of power. I mean, you could go for 2 days probably with that lifeboat of a battery. And it's not very big. It'll fit in your purse or it'll fit into a small area where you can just as easily take it out, hook it up to your phone, just like hooking it to the wall. I mean, it just charges the battery right away. So, and then of course, the headphones can be wired or wireless, it can be Bluetooth, whatever you prefer. And that way you can isolate sound because like I said, it does get noisy and sometimes I can't even hear, it gets so noisy. So that's what I recommend for when you guys go out, So, any questions on that? If not, we'll go to the next thing. This is one thing, this next thing, this is one thing that Barbara wanted me to show you. So this is not a big deal. I mean, we've been doing this for years. You can assign ringtones to contacts. Has anybody ever done that on their iPhone yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is review for you then. Everybody else, listen up. So here we go. So if you want to if you want to give someone a ringtone, excuse me, and you do that so you know when they're calling versus everybody else. So I've got a ringtone for Patty. We're both fans of the Gilmore Girls series. So I've got a Gilmore Girls customized ringtone for Patty. And she's got one for me. And everybody else gets the standard guy. So the way you change somebody to a different ringtone is you go into contacts. So, hey Siri, open contacts.
Google Voice, choose new items, edit mode.
That's another thing this thing's doing. Hey Siri, go to contacts, open contacts. Okay. So let me open.
Contacts, back button. Contacts, back button.
So if I find somebody here, let me just find somebody.
Raisin Stocksdale.
Manny, you can give me a ringtone.
Oh, I'm gonna give you a ringtone, Barbara. But now that I know you're calling, I may not pick up. You want to risk it? I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Search.
Okay.
Search field.
So whenever you're in contacts, you want to go to search because when you get a lot of contacts like me and Barbara and Patty and everybody, you don't want to peruse this whole list. So I'm just gonna dictate Barbara's name in there. Barbara. Okay. So now I'm gonna go to the search results list, which is under the text field that I'm dictating in. So I swipe to the right.
Search Barbara and Jim Copeland. Barbara McPherson.
There it is. Who's another one?
Barbara Patterson.
Barbara Patterson. Huh.
Barbara McPherson.
Okay, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Barbara McPherson.
Barbara McPherson. Actions available.
So the first thing that comes up when you type after a search, or you press or you double tap on a person after the search, is you get their contact card. So you're not editing, you're just looking at it. So to change something in that contact, you have to go to the edit button. So I'm going to do that, and that should be at the very top. I'm going to swipe up there.
Edit button.
It's right there.
Done. Dimmed.
Now there's a lot to Barbara's contact. You got name, phone numbers, emails, street address, notes. You got all birthday, anything. But we're going to look for ringtone. So let's go find that. I'm going to swipe to the right.
Home. 5-2. Mobile button. +1. Add phone. But home button. Mac Thursday at AOL. Add email. But ringtone. Default.
There we go.
So right now, her ringtone is the default ringtone, which means whichever one I set globally for the phone, that's what she gets. But if I want to change her ringtone to something, you just double tap here on the thing I'm on, which is,
Ringtone. Default.
so I'm going to tap on that.
Cancel button.
And then I can change your ringtone. I'll play a few for you. I won't go long on this, but we'll
No,
find a
go,
ringtone.
Give her
go
the
by,
duck.
go down to by the seaside.
By the seaside. Okay, that's the
No,
one.
no, give her the duck. Give her
No, I
the
want
duck.
that one. I want by the
Okay.
seaside.
Boy, you guys are picky. I thought this was my phone.
Selected. Open.
By the seaside.
Ringtones. No more.
Yeah, play that one. I like that.
No more girls.
So
Swipe up or down to
so-
select a couple.
I wanted to show you this before I assign this to Barbara. I have the Gilmore Girls. Once I buy a ringtone out of the iTunes store, I can actually assign it to anybody. Of course, Gilmore Girls only belongs to one person, but it's an actual Gilmore Girls thing. If I tap on it, you guys can hear it. Watch.
No more girls. Selected.
You know.
Open.
So anyway,
Selected.
Doesn't want you to play it.
so that's the current one. So let's go down to By the Seaside. That's the one Barbara wants. So I got to find that. I don't know where it's at exactly, but let's go down.
Apex. Beacon. Bulletin. By the seaside.
So this is
There
going to
it
be
is.
Barbara's.
There it is.
Selected. By the seaside.
So you gotta play it.
Messages. Now. Nancy Dupont.
So there it is. So that's the one I'm going to give Barbara. So next time Barbara calls me and it plays By the Seaside, I'll know not to answer. No, I'm just kidding. Just play it, Barbara. Just play it.
I'll
So
give
anyway,
her
I'm
the
gonna
duck
assign
on mine.
I'm going to assign that to Barbara right now. So it's all documented here on YouTube. Okay, everybody.
No.
But go all the way down. There's classics down there that has even more sound.
Yeah, actually, there's some really cool classic sounds. I don't know if anybody's explored this, but let's just do that for a second because they're kind of cool actually.
Circuit. Crystal. Hills.
I'm always in there changing people's ringtone.
Oh, no.
Centric. Signal. Silk. Slow rock. Stargate. Summit. Twinkle. Uplift. Waves. Classic. Button.
So there's a whole another set of them under this classic thing. So we go into classic.
Mhm.
Alarm.
So if I set it for the alarm, it sounds like this.
Alarm. Selected.
I like that one for Barbara.
We can hear it.
You can hear it?
No.
Oh. Let me turn it up. So that was the alarm.
Ascending. Selected. Ascending.
A lot of people like to use like, well, when there's a dog bark here,
Bark. Selected.
you know, you can assign any of these sounds. And there's a duck and there's a classic phone. Let's go down there.
It's Boyd. Blues. Boyd.
This one's really cool, this Boeing one.
Notification.
Mhm.
2 minutes away. Nancy Dupont. 2 minutes ago. Nancy Dupont.
So let's try that again.
Oh,
Selected.
there it is.
Selected. Boyd.
Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is.
It's hard to hear it because voiceover's talking. I gotta silence it real quick so you can hear the sound.
Yeah.
Right, right. And there's the Star Trek one too.
Yeah,
It's digital. Doorbell.
I'll find one more and then you kind of get the gist of this. So let me,
Rose 9 to 20. Marimba. Motorcycle. Old car. Horn. Old phone.
Nancy DePaul.
okay, so let me go here.
Piano riff. Old phone. Old car.
Now,
Horn.
I'm gonna do two of them. One's gonna be the old horn.
Old car. Horn. Select.
Or you can do a classic phone.
Old phone. Select.
That's a nice loud one. But what I'll do is I'll put Barbara by the seaside, so we'll go back.
Ringtone. Back ringtone.
But this is where you explore and assign ringtones within the
You
context.
could
part,
also
and-
assign,
Huh?
you could also assign the text tone.
That's right. That's right. Yes, absolutely. So let me go to the seaside and get done with this.
Reflection. Rose 8 to 19. Constellation. By the seaside. Selected. By the seaside.
Okay.
Done. Button.
Okay, so now Barbara has by the seaside.
Done. Button. Edit.
Okay, so that's
But
how
you
you
got-
assign
you gotta hit
ringtones.
the done twice.
I did.
Okay, but
I just
I
didn't
don't know if
mention that.
everybody realized there's two done.
Yeah, there's two dones. The first done is the ringtone assignment. The second done saves the contact with the new ringtone assignment. So that's what that is. Okay, so what do we have here? Oh, so another thing I learned from Barbara and Debbie is how to use SuperSense or Seeing AI to read cans. And it's a real simple, ingenious way that they do it. So what Barbara does is she takes the can and she sits straight in the chair. She has her legs together on the chair, and then she puts the can between her knees or her legs up over there. And then that is where the can sits, and then she can rotate it with the other hand. And it really works well when it tries to recognize text or it recognizes the barcode. So isn't that right, Barbara? Is that what we were talking about?
And the Super Sense looks for it, and when it finds it really quick, and it starts reading it to you.
So
But
what I've
you
done,
have to set Super Sense under features. You have to set it on barcode.
so I have a can of Campbell's soup in front of me. I'm going to do that exact same thing just to show you how good it works. Now I have a very dark place here, but I think it will light up the flashlight and allow me to do it. So I'm going to do it the way Barbara says. So first I got to open up SuperSense. Go over there.
Calendar. Tuesday.
Hey Siri. Open SuperSense.
Menu. Button.
Okay,
Humanware.
sorry, reading my monitor. Okay, so I got to go to barcode. So on the very lower right, you have the mode or whatever it's called.
Select feature.
Feature.
Button.
Select
Open the
feature.
screen to select different modes and read history.
And you double tap on that.
Smart scan.
This is a paid for app, by the way, and I highly recommend using it. It's a very good app. I'm on like a month subscription now, but I'm thinking about going to the lifetime. And I just checked the pricing and it jumped. It jumped from $49 for the lifetime to $100. So
Ooh.
I didn't know that until I was messing with it the other day. Okay, and so back to what I was doing. So we're gonna find barcode. I'm gonna swipe to the right till I hear barcode.
Read. Document read. Multi-page read. Currency. Barcode.
Barcode.
Feature. Scanning. Stop. Button. Stops the scanning process.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear it, but I got the can the way I described. I'm gonna start rotating the can in my lap and see if it finds it. There it goes.
Campbell's French onion condensed soup, 10.5 ounces. Directions available.
So it said Campbell's condensed French onion soup, so many ounces. And a good thing about this is not only has that, but Barbara wanted me to show you that it has more details. So if I go to this more details button.
Menu button. Explore button. Campbell's French onion. Show me
Oh.
Campbell's French onion condensed soup. 10.5 ounces.
Okay, so let me go to the details or whatever it's called.
Show details.
Show
button.
details.
Beginning of the document.
Product. Campbell's French onion condensed soup, 10.5 ounces. Description. French onion condensed soup, French onion condensed soup. Directions. Mix soup plus 1 can water, microwave on high 3 to 3.5 min. In covered microwavable bowl. Let's
Pause.
So anyway, you see how that works. It's very powerful. And all I did was point, and it took the picture when it found the barcode. I had to turn the can almost all the way around because the barcode was away from it. But it automatically took the picture. And before it did that, it was telling me with sound that it had an object in view, that it wasn't just looking at nothing. So I knew by that sound that I had an object in view. And then when I turned it and it found the barcode, it then automatically snapped it. And then it started reading what it was. So what it is. So I think this is a very good app. I mean, I like it as much or more than Seeing AI, but it does cost a little bit of money. So that's the only caveat. But if you use it, it's worth it.
Manny,
Oh, go ahead, Barbara. Sorry. The other thing that I thought was pretty neat is I was researching this for another a friend of ours, mine, Patty's, and she uses one of those hand barcode scanners. I don't know if you guys remember these with the red light on it, and you point it at something and it tells you what it is. And then if it doesn't recognize something, you can record what it is. Well, that's what this thing does too. You get to a barcode it doesn't find, it'll allow you to type in the name of it. And then when it sees that barcode again, it'll find it and it'll give you that name back. That's kind of a replacement for the handheld barcode scanner on your phone. So it's a very well thought out app. So I really like it. So
what was the name of that app again?
It's called Super Sense, Larry.
Okay.
And they have 3 subscription levels. And I'm not a salesman for them, I promise. They have a monthly thing. Every month you can spend $4.99 plus tax, so $5.40 or whatever it is. And then they have a yearly, which is now $49. Okay, it was $29 before, and I should have jumped on it.
Raised it off.
And now the lifetime, which means you never have to pay for it again, that's now $100, and it used to be $49 like 2 weeks ago. So I'm hoping that it comes down in price again. I'll grab the lifetime membership.
Manny, I was just gonna make a quick comment.
Oh, hey,
They
Lupita,
do
yes.
They do periodically have sales. There was a summer sale where it was 50 for a lifetime. So you can be watching. You can also request a call from that app and ask them personally if they know of any sales coming up or if you can know about a sale or something
All
like that.
right, very good. But Lupita, if I don't want to put you on the spot, but what's been your experience? Obviously, you're a user, right? I mean,
I love it. I use it a lot, and I use it for my cans. I use it for a short document. I use it a lot at work. I teach students to use it, and I like it. It's a really good app.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And Barbara, I think, agrees pretty much too. I think she likes the app as well. So I would definitely recommend that app for that category of apps that recognize text or objects or barcodes. It's really a top-notch app. So I'm really impressed with it. So, any questions on SuperSense or any more comments, Lupita? Do you have anything else that you want to say to? Okay. Well, all right then. Let's see what's next on my list. We're getting close to the end, but we've got a couple more things. Let's see. Oh, there's one thing we haven't talked about that's real important, and I thought I'd talk about tonight. I don't know if anyone's ever explored in the voiceover settings the thing called voiceover recognition. This is really handy because what it does, when you turn this stuff on, and I'm going to tell you what it is right now. When you get onto an image, whether it's on, I don't know, Amazon app or website or whatever, it will try to recognize it, explain what the image is, and then tell you if there's any text in there automatically without you doing anything else. So, for example, let me just,
Directions. Image soup plus one can water.
oh yeah, let me get out of this Super Sense thing. Hang on.
Back, back. Calendar, Tuesday, September.
So I'm
It's
going to go to
raining.
Amazon. Huh? I'm
It's
sorry. go ahead.
raining, sorry.
Oh, so I'm going to go to
You have to start
Amazon.
it again.
I'm going to open the Amazon app and I'm just going to find a picture and touch it. And you'll see how this works. Okay. I'm going to do this now. So,
App switcher, super sense, app super sense, closing super contacts, bar mode, closing bar mode, settings, app closing settings, messages, closing messages, Safari, active, closing Safari, Amazon, active.
You had everything open.
Sounds
Okay.
like me.
Amazon, search.
So for you visual people, there's a couple of images here. Let me find one. Okay, here's one with a little animal in it. Let me just get over to it.
Drugstore pets. Fashion and beauty. Pets. A dog sitting on a blue surface. Explore image.
So here's what it looks like for you visual people. I'm just going to put it up there. It's an image of I'm using my description of it. It's a little dog sitting in a white background. There's some text in the image at the top and I think at the bottom. Now, if I couldn't see it, this is how voiceover and this new voiceover recognition stuff works. So here we go.
Pets. A dog sitting on a blue surface. Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate.
So if I go to another picture, see, and it described it for me. It described what the picture was. That's what the power of this is. It didn't just say image. It actually told you it was a dog sitting on a surface. Let's go to the picture above it. I don't know what that is.
Drugstore and personal care. 3 bottles of nail polish on a blue surface. Morgar. ATORPSTATIN2. Mented.
And it's reading the text that's on the image too. So this is just a picture. It figured out what was in the picture and then it also read the text. Now let me show you where these settings are. And these are settings you should turn on by all means. So let me go into settings and find those for you. So you go to settings.
Settings. Double. Settings.
And then we're going to go to accessibility. That's next.
Search selling, sound, focus, screen, general, control, accessibility,
Okay, right there.
vision, heading,
We're going to go voiceover.
voiceover, on,
And then we're going to go to a thing called voiceover recognition. This will be down the list.
speech, braille, voiceover recognition, button.
Voiceover recognition. You go in there.
Using on-device intelligence, your iPhone will automatically improve the accessibility of apps, images, and text. Voiceover recognition should not be relied upon in circumstances where you could be harmed or injured, in high-risk situations, for navigation, or diagnosis or treatment of any medical condition.
So don't use it for serious stuff because it's not always accurate. That's what that means. So the settings that I would like you guys to turn on, if you want to, the first one is this one.
Image descriptions on. Button.
Image descriptions. And let me give you what they say about image descriptions. It's a real short piece here.
Your iPhone will speak descriptions of images in apps and on the web.
So if you have an image on the web or on an app, and there's no alternate text on the web, they figure they're not going to tell you what the image is. This thing will try to figure out what the image is and tell you what it is. That's what it did with that dog and those medicine bottles on Amazon. So what you do is you go into this setting. There's a little button you got to press.
Image descriptions on button. Image descriptions on.
And you just flip that toggle to on. And the very first time you do that, it's got to download some data for it to do the recognition. Because that data tells it how to recognize images and common things like animals and whatnot, this stuff. So it takes it's got to download for maybe about a minute, and then when it's done, it'll be able to recognize images that way. And So, and then of course, it's going to be set to speak. What it means by that, the setting below it, is that it's going to describe and speak what it thinks it is. There's also a play sound where it just does a beep or something, which doesn't make any sense to me. And of course, there's nothing. So keep it on speak and keep it on that. That's for this first setting that we're talking about. And that setting is image descriptions. Make sure that's on. Okay, so we're going to go back.
Voiceover recognition. Voiceover.
And besides,
Image descriptions on.
so image descriptions.
Screen recognition on.
So the other one is screen recognition. And here's what the explanation is for that.
Your iPhone will automatically make apps more accessible by recognizing items on the screen.
So if you have a button that's on a screen and you can't see it, how do you know that it's enabled or disabled, or if you can press on it or not? This thing will help with that. If it's a disabled button, it'll say disabled, or it'll say not available, whatever it says. I don't know what it says. So you would go into this setting just like the other one and turn it on. So you would go
Screen recognition on button.
Go in there.
Screen recognition.
And you would flip that toggle to on. And here's a better explanation.
Your iPhone will automatically improve the accessibility of apps that have no accessibility information, such as identifying the state of buttons or toggles, and by grouping related items together. In other apps, screen recognition can be accessed through the rotor.
So that's a different thing, but just remember those two things under and I'll have this in the notes, the areas that you should turn on. So let's go back one more.
Voiceover. Text recognition on. Double tap screen recognition.
Oh, there's also text recognition, sorry.
Your iPhone will speak descriptions of text found in images.
So what that does, that works in concert with the screen, the image recognition. It'll tell you what's in the picture, like a dog, but this part says, go ahead and figure out what text is in the picture too, and tell me that at the same time. So you want to turn that third thing on. And I will list these three things that should be on. For the first two, it requires a little bit of a download. No big deal, but you're gonna have to wait for it to download the data. It needs to do that job. And then of course the text recognition, that's already built into the phone. So it doesn't need to download anything. And I think that is it for
feedback style, play sound button.
Oh, and the feedback style at the bottom, it just goes like doo-doo-doo. I'm recognizing doo-doo-doo, and then it'll say whatever it is after.
Manny, can we do that on our iPhone now, or do we have to wait for 16.0?
Good question. Yes, you can do it now. And I have failed you guys because I should have shown you this before. I just never thought to show it to you. I don't know what's wrong with me. But yes, that's in the current version of iOS 15. So I think that will get you a lot closer to a better usable phone, especially on sites that are not designed very well. And there are a lot of those.
8:30 p.m.
Okay, I think I'm at 8:30, so I don't know what we do now. I don't know, Barbara, if you're ready, or do anybody have any questions or anything going on that we want to talk about?
When will you have the notes out there?
I got to get the video from John, which he always turns it around quick. So that'll probably be tomorrow. And then I will try to get the notes out by a day or two max. I try to get them out as fast as I can. So I got a couple of things this week, but I'm going to try to do them at night so I can get them out to you guys quickly. So.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime. Barbara, how are you? Do you think we're okay to...
Could I ask you one question?
Did you cover the thing about sending text to Android, the SMA?
No, it's on the list, but I didn't research it enough to talk about it. It is on my list of things to talk about. If you'd like, I can put it into like an addendum on the notes and then actually feature it next month if you'd like to do it that way.
Well, it's a setting that you turn on, and it's important if you send a text message to somebody that has an Android phone. So I didn't understand why all my text messages were coming back.
Well, I believe that setting is called use SMS texting. Let's look for that real quick before we stop. That's a good question, Barbara. Let me
Your iPhone will automatically make apps more accessible by recognizing voiceover.
go back.
Voiceover. Accessibility. Back at accessible.
So I think
Voiceover on.
I think this is under messages. Let me just
Settings. Back settings. Setting display and brightness. What home screen? What Siri? Face. Facebook. Batter. Prop apps. Wallet. Pass. Mail. Contacts. Calendar. Notes. Reminder. Voice memo. Phone. Messages. Button.
we go to messages, I believe.
Allow messages to access. Head focus on. Siri and search. Notify iMessage on. Double tap to talk. Send and receive. 2 addresses. Button. iMessage uses share name and photo to personalize your shared with you. Allow content shared. Show contact photo. Show photo. Text message forwarding. But allow your send and receipts off. When this is on, send as SMS on. Double
So-
tap to toggle setting.
I believe this is the setting Barbara's talking about. I haven't verified it, which is why I wasn't prepared to speak tonight, but let's talk about it for a second. The description that Apple gives for this is right here.
Send as SMS when iMessage is unavailable. Carrier messaging rates may apply.
So there's a big war going on out there for the messaging standard. You have the fruity phones that we use, Apple, and we use what's called iMessage. And it's a really full-featured, rich thing. But Android phones can't play in that camp because, well, they're Android phones. So what happens is there has to be a compatibility switch that allows you to send messages to any phone in the world. Because a lot of our phones out there are not Android, I mean, not Apple phones, they're Android phones. So they're okay with SMS, which is kind of a universal standard, but less feature rich. And Google and Android, they're looking at trying to get Apple to go to another standard, which I won't talk about. It's just another acronym that we don't need to learn. Anyway, and Apple is not budging. So there's kind of a war going on between these as far as who gets the messaging standard. And the only thing that's common between them is this little SMS standard, which is a more basic messaging standard. So you turn this on, and then if you send to a phone that's not iMessage compliant or doesn't like iMessages, you turn this on, and then they will be able to receive your messages with no problem. That's what I believe this setting does.
That's what it does.
Yeah. So, and I'll put this in the notes. Make sure you go to messages and whatever this is called again. Let me see.
Send as SMS.
Send as SNS. Sorry. And then we do that, and then you're going to be compatible with everybody, not just the people that like Apple.
Where is
There's a
that
lot of
setting,
people that-
Manny? Where's that setting?
I'm sorry, it's under messages.
Okay,
It's called send as SMS.
yeah, okay, I don't know what I have that set for. Practically everyone I send to is an iPhone
You'll-
user, but it's worth having more universal, just a
Yes.
fallback in case,
Absolutely.
you know.
It'll try iMessage first. If it fails, it'll go SMS. So you can talk to everybody who doesn't have an
Yeah.
Apple phone or whatever, computer or whatever. So yes, that's the thing that Barbara was talking about. So, thank you, Barbara, for bringing it up. I had enough to go on, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to show it yet. But that's okay. So any questions on
You did
that?
good.
All right.
Somebody had a question.
Yeah, somebody have a question? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut somebody off. I am an Aquarius and I do work out, if that was the question.
Mhm.
Not,
Who
Okay.
had the question?
They must have
Somebody did.
left.
Okay, if not, then I don't know if we have anything more tonight. I'm happy to, if you guys got any questions offline, it doesn't have to be during the class, email me or my phone number or I'll be happy to answer as much as I can, and it's no
Put that
problem.
in the note.
Okay.
Screen dimmed.
Well, okay, Barbara, unless you got more, I think I'm ready. I don't know if everybody
I
else
think
is.
we're done. I think we're done.
I'm
Yes.
gonna hit the
Thank
magic cut the
Good
tape button.
night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
thank you,
Night.
Manny.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
Take care of yourselves.